Santa Fe Spirits is a small distillery founded by me 11 years ago, based in the foothills of the New Mexico Sangre de Cristo Mountains. It's an eclectic mix of people, and it's an eclectic way we make our whiskey, and we're in an odd town, better known as the Santa Fe, the city different, which means we're based at 7,000 feet, which is high desert, so we get a multitude of climates and a multitude of people here. It really is a melting pot for people from all over the place. Whiskey is a really fascinating topic to talk about, and American single malts are definitely part of that whole category. A growing category and a very interesting one, to say the least. I think the terroir here in America really lends itself to various different regions all over the country that produce a really different flavor profile. Most of the time when you hear single malt, most people will think of Scotland. They have a variety of different flavors that come from their highland, their lowland, etc., etc. We have the same in America, just different territories that we're talking about. Obviously, it's a much bigger country. I think we have a wider range of the flavor profiles in our whiskey. I've got friends in the Northwest in a damp climate who have a very different flavor profile from my friends out in the Texas desert. Here in Santa Fe, we actually have a whiskey very unique to us. It's a mesquite smoked single malt, which I think is a very regional flavor here, barbecue-esque in its flavor profile. And we only smoke 1/3 of the grain, and 2/3 is unsmoked, regular 2-row raw barley, because we think the balance of 1/3 smoked, 2/3 unsmoked helps. We also age in new and used casks, which helps balance the smoke and the oak out.
The barrels that we use play a very important part of the process of our mesquite smoked single malt. We use new American oak barrels and once used bourbon barrels. And these create such a unique character in our whiskey. They're not 50-50, the percentage is completely different each time, and we are blending to make the most harmonious blend we can make. And sometimes that's a little bit more sweetness from those bourbon barrels, and sometimes it's a little bit more of that beautiful vanilla lift that you get from American oak barrels.
We really enjoy living here in this wonderful climate that we're in. It's very conducive to whiskey making. You wouldn't have thought so, thinking we're at 7,000 feet in the high desert of New Mexico. But what that does mean is that we can actually have the higher volatiles in the aging process escape quicker. We only need a minimum 3-year aging on our whiskey in the full-size casks you can see behind me.
The amount of angel share that we get here is very unique and is also one of the signatures of why this whiskey is so good and why it ages like it does. If you tried to make this whiskey at sea level, it would not be the same at all. And the climate here, the barrels that we use, the oxygen interaction that we get over 3 years definitely lends its hand to the finesse of our whiskey and the finish of it. It's just gorgeous.
So one of the things I really love about making American single malt is sharing the tasting experience with people. When we do all the little nuances that we do to blend it, to taste it, to flavor it, to age it, when I share that with people in the tasting, especially for the first time, to watch people's faces light up, that's the magical part of whiskey for me. It's definitely a communal thing to share with people, and I think our whiskey epitomizes a great tasting experience.